Amen. Hallelujah. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the sharing again, and I want for you to read it, because you anointed man of God. Yeah, you probably say, "Oh, you just say anything to get me to read, right?" Let's see here. All right, can you see it?
Yeah, Mark 7:1.
Yeah, and what I actually do, let's read all the way to 1 through 4, and we'll talk. Then we keep going after that.
Okay. Then came together unto him the Pharisees, talking about Pharisees coming unto Jesus, and certain of the scribes which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread which defiled, that is to say, with unwashed hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands often, eat not, holding the traditions of the elders. Let me say that again, holding the traditions of the
elders. Uh-huh.
And when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not.
Mm-hmm.
And many other things there be, which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brazen vessels, and tablets and tables. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, why walk not thy disciples according to the traditions of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? And he answered, he being Jesus, and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you, hypocrites, as it is written, this people honoureth me with their lips, but their hearts is far from me.
Now, that's interesting, right? That their heart is far from them. And they're talking about something that's basic too, right? What's wrong with what they're saying about this tradition?
Is it's not
right?
It's not from God. And it's from elders. It's a tradition of elders.
Uh-huh.
And
uh-huh.
It's a tradition doesn't mean that it is lawful.
Right.
Which is what their commandments were law, the laws of God. And so to me, a tradition is just something that you practice to keep memory of stuff. But the fact that they were trying to honor God by doing something that he didn't require, to me.
Right.
And then they're trying to hold, because the elders did it, they're trying to hold everyone else to it. What comes to mind is when Jesus said that, you come out and you pray these lofty prayers in public, but you won't do it in private, or you hold
exactly
standard that you don't even keep. And it's just another form of bait and switch to me.
Yeah. Because you know what the thing about it is, and I'm gonna take off the slide. You can pull it up. I'll pull up if you need to see it, reference again. But I can understand from what you got. Hey, look, here's a good one. I can understand from a health perspective that this is a good thing to do, right? From a health perspective, right? I go to the market, just like I'll think about today, because these modern day times now, right, with COVID-19, you remember about washing your hands, right? Keep your, don't rub your eyes, keep your hands away from your nose and stuff. You see people washing chairs sometimes, at least in the office place, not here where you at or my home. But when they go into the office place, you see some people bring a chair. There's if it's a common use workstation, right? Uh, or when they go into the restaurant, they make sure they wash their hands when they come back from the store. That's what I keep thinking about when you come back into the house. The encouragement is to wash your hands, right? Because they try to keep the COVID out of the place, right? Well, these things they made a tradition. I can really understand back in those days, biblical days, where things were a lot of things were probably not clean, right? Right. But it became a tradition, and the key piece I've recognized in there is they found fault in anybody that did not. Oh man, it's almost like today's time. Let's put that back up here. Hey, did you catch that? This is almost, woo, this almost fit.
Exactly like what you're saying. You know, if you don't
Wow.
agree with them, then they find fault with you, even though it is not law. You know, it's just
Oh, I changed
it,
it.
it's
Let me go back up to the one.
like 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 Isaiah's prophecy. You know, it's easy to say stuff.
It is, right,
It's
right.
easy to try and hold people to a standard with your lips, you know, and then not follow that standard yourself, which, you know, from your heart. You're not really truly doing it with a purpose of relationship with
Yeah,
God, you know, and so and that's the bottom line. If it doesn't glorify God, what difference does that tradition do, or that act or that rule, you know, or law? If
yeah.
the elders made a law and that law doesn't honor God, that law honors the elders.
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
know, if the elders try and hold that law as against people and they don't honor it themselves, you know, that's just
Yeah.
hypocrite.
But I think the real key I'm looking at is they find fault on
Yeah.
you, right?
Well,
And
that's
then they
that's the
judge
thing.
you.
They're
Uh,
judging. They're judging people. You know, and it's like they said. It's you honor with your lips, with your heart. You're far from me. You know, and this is God. This is supposed to be all about.
yeah. In other words, right. In other words, they'll make the traditions out, go beyond the will of God. In other words, your commandment is not as important as my tradition. And therefore, when I find fault, now I'm going to, what do you call it? I'm going to persecute. Somebody. I'm gonna go ahead and put them down. Heck, I'm almost ready to stone them if I could. But it's a fault finding mechanism. In other
Yeah,
words, if you don't do this my way, now it's a fault, right? Now I can criticize you. You're not following the way I think you should follow
yeah.
life, right? Now I want to reject you. I don't want to give you any credit. And I'm sitting there, I was looking at, man, did you see in the news where uh there was a restaurant, I think in Texas, where the lady was asking the person whether they had the vaccine card, right? And they attacked the girl. Did you see that one in the news? If you did this, it was in the
I
news
didn't.
where three ladies just jumped the, huh?
Can
You
you
didn't
say
see
it
it, right?
again? You kind of phased out on me in your sentence. I didn't understand what you were saying.
Right. Did you see three ladies attack a waitress that asked them if they had their vaccination card?
Oh no, I didn't.
It was the intent was, I guess that particular restaurant is you can't go in there unless you show proof that you've been vaccinated. And
Uh-huh.
they co-cocked the girl.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah. I mean, the girl was like, I can't believe you. You can see the video because they showed it. It was like last week, this week, and it was like, I can't. This is ridiculous. Why you? The girl is a young girl, and white girl too. On top of that, and it was white people that hit her, and started a fight. So you talking, everybody's trying to get into the restaurant. Now you got this brawl going on because they would ask, this lady was just asking her this simple question: them, have you been vaccinated? Because we're not allowing people to come in if you don't have proof of vaccination. And so how we have made that thing so political, right? That it's so many fights going on, like from the school boards, right? You see the fussing at the school boards because they're talking about the vaccination. You see it at you just see it across the board. In other words, I don't want to do it. You're trying to make me do it. The other group is saying you should do it, and I'm mad at you because you're not doing it. And all of it to me is like your behavior. Remember the fruits of the spirit, right? The love, the joy, the peace, the long suffering, right? The whole point of bearing fruit. Anytime something like these traditions take over your ability to bear fruit, now you're going outside of, now you got to look at yourself and say, am I doing what his will is for me and how I'm supposed to conduct myself regardless of differences? Because we have differences, right? We can, it's all right to disagree in a lot of things. It's how we disagree. It makes a difference. That makes sense?
It does make sense, but what do you expect?
What do you mean?
I mean, from this world, people of this world. I don't expect anything less. I really don't. I don't expect these people to act like they have the spirit of God. That's not an expectation of mine. Because when you deal with a lot of people, you come walking in the spirit, or you just come let's not even call it, we won't even say walking in the spirit. Let's just say you come in a meek, humble disposition.
Right.
You're just existing. You're not trying to force your way or abuse your uh, your space by infringing on other people's. You're not imposing your will on anybody else. You're
Right.
just existing in society the way you should. And then you come upon somebody
Right.
who's got this mentality that they're better than you are. Their desires outrank yours. Their position outrank yours. Uh, you should. You are less than them. It doesn't surprise me. It
Yeah,
does.
well,
It
I know.
doesn't. It doesn't put me into a position to where I'm shocked. Now, depending
Okay.
on their hostility, they if my family's around, then of course that guy that's dead is definitely coming up out of that ground. And then they're going to be dealing with a like person. Some
Exactly. Exactly.
they're going to be dealing with a zombie, somebody that came from the dead and is now right in front of them. And
Hey,
zombies like human flesh, so I'm gonna get my flesh. Well, not me, but that zombie that's gonna come up, because now it's more than me, it's my family. So, but even then, it all depends on the situation and circumstance and my disposition. But
yes, sir.
but most of the time, if I'm out by myself, I really just look at people when they come at me sideways, when they have a man or woman mentality. I don't want to say mentality. I don't want to include the women too. That is not godly. That is fruits of death, I should say, not
Right.
not of the spirit. It catches me off guard sometimes because I'm not really not looking for that or even expecting it most of the time.
Right.
Uh, but I'm not I'm not surprised when it happens, and I just pretty much just most of the time not even deal with it. I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
I don't want to engage in something that's unfruitful or even try and uh, change somebody's mind who's racist or who don't think the way I think when it comes to things outside of the gospel.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, now when it comes
Yes,
to the gospel, then yes, we can engage in a conversation. But when
yes,
that
sir.
conversation becomes hostile,
Be-
I'm done.
Become fleshy. Yes,
I
exactly.
mean, and that's that.
Yeah.
So I just most of the times when it comes to the gospel, I just listen to what people have to say, and if they
Uh-huh.
receptive, then I'll let them know what I believe and
Yeah.
whether
You
and
know,
whether it lines up to their belief or not, and then I will give them some scriptures that back up what I believe. you
right.
know. And so, and if they can't receive it, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
It is not for me to make them believe. I
Right.
share. Now, if you're sharing, it
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean that they have to receive what you're sharing. It's just available
Right.
for like you can have a, a table full of food that you're sharing with society. Some of
Yes,
society
sir.
take some of that food and some societies not. Some
Right.
people in society need that food, and because other folks take it, they don't get it. You know,
Yes, sir.
the fact that you're sharing, you're just making it available. And
Right.
I'm tending to be in that lane more so
Exactly.
than the lane I was in at one time where you gonna get this word. You gonna get it. I'm gonna give it to you, and you have to receive it, or you're a sinner and you can't receive it, and so you gonna bow down to God, not me, but I'm gonna make sure you understand God's position, and I'm gonna force feed this. What were they doing to them prisoners in Guantanamo Bay when they were force feeding them?
Yeah. Yeah. Intravenously. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that is not, I don't think that's God's way. I'm not that way anymore. Thank God for growth. But
Ex-
it's it is something to watch society in its glory.
It is. I guess I want to be able to say is that it's at least when we're doing sessions like these, right? Or if, just like Jesus' confrontation, if they come to you, you can at least remind people, hey, from a Christian perspective, as a fellow Christian, because that's really what we're talking about, right? The people that, I mean, I mean, seriously, the whole purpose of like sessions like this, if somebody participated in a session like this, right? Or if we look at how Jesus, this situation came, they came to Jesus, didn't they? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
They came to Jesus and doing the fault finding.
They witnessed him existing.
Yeah, yeah.
They witnessed him.
They came.
Witnessed Jesus not in church, just existing in society.
In society, right? Because
so we saw them do something that was not according to their customs.
Exactly.
And so they came with accusations and found fault.
Yes, sir.
But what I'm going to start doing,
and so they kept asking that question.
Yeah, what I'm going to start doing is exactly what my Lord and Savior did. And I'm going to say to these folks, and I can't wait to see a reaction. Well, very well did Isaiah prophesy about your hypocrisy. You serve God with your lips, woo, but your heart is far from him. And I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to relish in the response because something has to happen with that. And I'm looking forward to seeing the results of those words, which are like my big brother taught me in this scripture in Mark 7:6.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. If they come to you, right? They presented something,
They're coming with some accusations.
Yeah, exactly. They found a fault.
And especially if I'm not outside of the will of God.
Come on now. Come on.
If I'm just out existing, if I'm out buying, let's just say I'm out buying some pork chops and somebody got an issue with pork because they don't believe we should be eating pork because it's defiled.
Uh-huh.
And they come and I can't believe you eating that swine, that unclean food. And I'm just going to say, well, has Isaiah prophesied?
Woo!
You hypocrites.
Hypocrites. As it is written, these people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me.
You honor God with your lips, but you are far, far from him.
Yes.
Because I know a man who was before God.
Wow.
Brought all unclean animals to him.
Come on now. Come on, brother. Now we're talking. Woo!
Eat.
Oh, Lord. Come on, man. I like that. Because we're talking about all kinds of traditions that people find faults with. Hey, look, even from the form of racism, that's really a big tradition that's out there. And I'm saying the good example is, when they attacked the Capitol, they told the police, "We're here on behalf of your boss."
Yeah, well, they attacked the police because they could not understand why they weren't on their side.
They did, exactly.
They had an expectation based on what the person that they were following, who incidentally is not Christ, is not God, was not the Holy Spirit, was just who had manly ideas, who most likely bowed down and worshiped Satan and thought he was going to get all these things he was going to receive.
Yeah.
For doing so. But anyway, that's kind of getting out getting off track. But all I'm saying is,
go ahead.
before that, it was you don't honor police because you want to defund them, and meaning that you don't want them. And nobody said we don't want police. We just want police to police equally.
Equally, right,
You
right.
know, and we want them to handle things that need we want them to take care of things that are unlawful.
Yes, sir.
They are supposed to keep order based on the law. And when someone is breaking the law, then the police is there to protect and serve the community from those who are breaking the laws against that community.
Right.
The problem is they're out protecting
A certain aspect.
a certain ethnic group
Yeah.
and abusing the authority that they have against people who don't look like them.
Yeah.
And it's not always just people who don't look like them. It's just people abusing the authority that's given to them. So, but most oftentimes it's people of color.
Right.
And
In other words, when I call that's one thing when we talk about traditions, there's traditions of biasness. And I think that and that's not just whites. So those who listen, we're not talking about just whites. I'm talking about there's different preferences across the board that we have in our life, that when somebody is not going along with where we believe they're supposed to go, we be rude, we treat them badly. And when we treat people badly, the question is when it conflicts with John 13:34. To remember to say to love one another, right? We're supposed to love. And this only applies to, I want people to know this, but when I'm saying is the ability to deal with people, I'm talking about with Christians, right? Because those are the ones that's the only one he's holding accountable, right? That if you look at that verse 6, if you look at it, let me put it up here for others to see, not you, but you already seen it, but just in case. Who is this honoring me with their lips?
well, the sad thing is it's the religious leaders and those who
Yeah,
are those
right.
who are writing the laws,
Yeah.
according to what God's people are supposed to
Yes,
be
sir.
and how they're supposed to be living.
Right.
So that is the thing that Jesus ran into, and
Yeah.
it's what we run in today. You know,
Yes.
we have religious leaders who honor God with their lips and not their
Yes.
heart.
There
And I
you
think
go.
it's because it's a form of control that is
Yes.
going on, which is the same thing that's happening right here in
Yes.
these. And when you're out of the boundaries of the control limits, the upper and
Yes.
lower control limits that are trying to be established, then there is fault that is found,
Come
whether
on.
you are in line with God or not.
Yes. That's the issue. Not.
Fault found. So, and that is the issue that is happening in these scriptures and Mark in the
Right.
7th. And
Exactly.
the same thing that's going on today, not only in society, but in the church.
Come on, brother.
So
Woo.
it's something that we need to understand, and we
Mm.
need to uh, uh, take heed to how Jesus approached this, you know,
Exactly.
and we need to follow in suit. You
Come
know,
on, brother.
he recognized
Right.
exactly what was going on and he spoke to it.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just
It's interesting.
I'm
It's just
just
a
looking
reminder.
at how he handled it.
Yeah. Well, see, to me, it's like this, and that's why I'm looking at it is that our job as each all of us as believers is remind ourselves who we are, right? And who we're serving, who is Lord in our life. And if we're sitting there every time we jump into the flesh, I mean, I was even looking at Miami, even the people that were in the airplane. You see the ones recently in the airplanes,
Yeah,
and,
there
and
was no fighting because they don't want to put on a mask.
in the
When,
plane.
when it was a requirement before you purchase that ticket, they said these are the requirements to fly on our aircraft.
Yeah,
Whether after you spend this money, you need to know. Well, actually, they said before you spend this money, know this,
know this.
that you are required
Yeah,
to practice these COVID-19 prevention measures
yeah,
to be able to use our aircraft and our service.
yes, sir.
We're serving you because you're paying us to serve you, but in order for us to serve you, you have to follow these rules. And if you don't
Right.
follow the rules, then you forfeit these monies that you, or you just going to be delayed until you comply.
And the bad thing about it is that at least all the airports I've been through, you're not only on the plane, uh, in the tarmac, in the terminals,
Yeah, you still have
you
to.
had the mask on. You had to go through the line with the mask on.
Yeah,
You had to go through security. So how all of a sudden did you gonna get up in 30-some thousand feet in the air, and all of a sudden now, if you took here's somebody coming in, it's
well,
Jimmy.
it's it's one thing to just not follow any rule
Yeah,
and see what happens.
right.
So don't just pick a rule and not follow it. No, go in there without showing your ID, cut through the lines. Matter of fact, don't even pay for the ticket.
Chloe
Just
paid for the
get
ticket.
on the plane
Just do what you
because
want.
it's not what you want.
Yeah.
It's not what you believe.
Hey,
And see
hey,
what happens.
hey, now 1 second. What I'm gonna do real quick, I said I'm breaking that live streaming. I'm just letting people know for live stream, I'm getting ready to cut off and I'm gonna bring you back in. I'm just trying to break these little videos down in segments on the when this going to YouTube too, you know that, right?
Yeah, you said so.
Yeah, it's going twice. So what I'm doing is breaking them down a little small segments. So for the people live, we're gonna stop and then I'm gonna come right back on live and catch Brother Addison's